Hey, it's Justin Goff. I'm here with Copy Accelerator member Joe Logalbo. Joe is super successful as both a copywriter and an offer owner. What's really interesting is just a couple of years ago, he was living in a 600 square foot apartment at his mother-in-law's house, working a pretty dead-end customer service job. And now he's kind of crushing it on all fronts. So I'm bringing Joe on to kind of talk about his story, share how he went from working that dead end job to now having not only a successful offer, but also a successful copywriting business. So, one of the questions I'm always curious to ask people, nobody grows up as a little kid saying, I want to be a direct response copywriter. So, I'm always curious how people get into it. So, how did you actually get started in copywriting?
Well, yeah, this is where it really all began. I was at the very beginning of my journey in the whole online marketing space. So, a mutual friend of ours, Vince Del Monte, he was having one of his fitness events where he would teach you how to make money online. And so I went to this event. At the time I was working on a product on how to run obstacle course races, like how to train for an obstacle course race, like Spartan racing or, kind of, stuff like that. And let me tell you, I hate running with a passion, but I thought there might be a need inside that market. So I threw myself all at the training and really got into it. Um, but man, let me tell you, it was so much running. I couldn't stand it. But anyway, I was at Vince's event and put together this product, and I was super excited about getting it out into the market. I had some affiliates that I met at the event who were willing to promote it, and I wrote all the copy at the time for it. And even Vince said, he's like, "Wow, you have some natural copywriting chops." And to be honest, I had no idea what that meant. Now I refer to it as copy, but back then I was just writing a sales letter. I didn't really know any terminology at all. And so we had some affiliates mail to that offer, and it did horrible. And it's not necessarily like, yes, the copy was okay, but I think probably the biggest thing for anyone who wants to start an offer, what you want to also think about is, are you presenting an offer that's going to have a bunch of, okay, but then what's, or what else do I have to buy after this? I mean, for obstacle course racing, it's like you release a program, then they have to buy the shoes, they have to buy the ticket, they have to book a hotel the night before. I mean, there's all this other stuff. And so it's not necessarily the copy was awful, but I think the offer itself was pretty bad, in the selection. So it was at that point, because I was working this dead end job at a customer service call center at the same time I was working on this program. And it was at that point I'm like, man, I need to figure out how to sell more products, because we made a few sales, but I'm like, look, I'm trying to leave my job and be able to allow my wife to leave her job. She was at a job she absolutely hated. We were living in a 600 square foot little home, which was my mother-in-law's house. So as a newlywed living in your mother-in-law's 600 square foot room with a little closet-sized bedroom, you can imagine the fun. I love my mother-in-law, but it's not what every newlywed wants.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, there was a person inside Vince's group, inside his Facebook group, that was a copywriter, and he was still really good friend to this day. We still check each other's copy out, and he was offering a coaching, service for teaching people how to write copy. And I'm like, wow, this is exactly what I need, because I need to get better at this if I'm going to be successful online. And so I hired this guy's name is Jared DeCarmine. He's a really good copywriter, really flies under the radar, but he was a great coach. And for, let's see, it was 8 weeks. We worked on a new offer called Anabolic Running is the program name. And it was basically how to build muscle and burn fat in 16 minutes a week, just doing sprints, basically. but you have to use this peculiar method, which is breathing out of your nose. Okay, you can't breathe your mouth. So that was kind of the hook about it. But anyway, about let's see, I think it was a month after releasing that product, after writing all that copy and being coached, which was huge for me. I was able to leave my job at this dead end job because we are getting enough sales to come in where I was like, well, I made more money in a day than I would with a 2-week paycheck. That day I walked in there, I said, look, I can't even put in my 2 weeks. I hate it here so bad. So, so I left. But that's how I got started in copywriting and in the whole direct response marketing space.
It's a hell of a story, man.
Yeah.
It is funny how that there's so many people who have that kind of same story where it's like, I'm in a job I hated and I wanted to do anything to get out of it. And I was willing to do whatever it kind of took to get out of it. Cause I mean, that's a huge motivator. It's a huge pusher. Cause like, if you're just feeling pain every single day and you hate the miserable experience of going to that job and being there 8 or 10 hours a day, like it motivates you to find something else.
Well, I mean, let me tell you, I would work the shift from 6 a.m. till 2:30. I would get home, I would eat a little bit, and then I would work. I would sit on this really old, kind of grungy chair with my laptop on my lap, and I would not get up out of that chair for about 6 hours, by the time it was bedtime. And my wife and her mom were in the kitchen and just talking. And, I could even overhear my mother-in-law just asking, like, what is he doing? He sits there all day, like any free time. I am trying to build a website. I was teaching myself how to make websites because I couldn't afford a web designer. So I'm like, okay, well, I can write copy now, but I'm working on that, but I got to put the website together. And so that is how I spent my time. And I told myself, I'm not going to leave this job and I'm not going to look for an easier job until I make it with this online business, because I wanted to supply for my wife. I mean, I couldn't just go around just job hopping. I really needed to focus. This was the last job I was going to work before I would have my own business, and I was really serious about that. So I'd work about 6 hours, and then when it was bedtime, I'd go in the bedroom. We would have, it's so funny, man. We would have Pursuit of Happiness, that movie with Will Smith,
Yeah.
just playing on this little mini TV in that room, and it would just be on repeat all night. And I would just be working on the website, working on copy, whatever it was, while my wife's sleeping behind me, and just like, I know one day I will be free. I will be doing what I love. So yeah, let me tell you, it definitely, that is a huge motivator. And I would say that people who want to, leave their job, burn the boats, and go all in on their business dreams or whatever it is, that's fine. But I will say that having that extra money that I had, even from that crappy job, that allowed me to hire the coach, that allowed me to work with Vince Del Monte at the beginning of that year, was huge. It was really important to have that. So although I really hated the job, the money did take a little financial pressure off, where I could hire the people I needed to learn.
Right. So I'm curious, once you got the offer going, it was making sales. How did you balance, what did that kind of look like between balancing writing copy for clients and then working on your own offer?
Well, that's a really good question, because I actually did not start working with clients until I had released my third product, I think it was. And it happened really organically, where clients were, excuse me, not clients, but people were reaching out to me saying, hey, who wrote that sales letter, for anabolic running? And then there were a couple other muscle building testosterone offers I'd written. And that's pretty good. Who wrote that? I want to hire them. I'm like, well, I wrote it. And I saw, so the first sales letter I did was actually free. I was just like, well, it was actually for Steve Holman of Old School New Body.
So,
But we came out with the muscle building program together, and he was the face of it. And I just decided I was just, hey, can I just get the emails? Like, I'll write it for free. Can I just get the emails, and then I'll just do my email marketing to them? And that's how I positioned that offer. And because I wasn't confident in my skill set at that point, I just thought, maybe I know some stuff for me, but could I really perform for a client? Anyway, it ended up doing really well for him and for me, getting those names on my email list. It allowed my business to grow a little bit faster, my fitness business. But yeah, it took now kind of to fast forward to kind of give you an idea. Maybe this would be a better question for me to answer for now, because our fitness business did 3.2 million in 2020, but our copywriting agency, which is really just me and my twin brother, who I taught sales copy. So there's another me, who's writing some really great copy himself, and he's very fast, very good. But that company did, if you even want to call it a company, did 250,000 in 2020. So I guess that would probably be a question that I can definitely answer with right now. It would probably help people get a little bit more value is how to balance being an offer owner and at the same time, writing copy for clients. For me with fitness business, I have a really great team. I mean, I'm not the face of the company. I have two gentlemen who are the face of the company, so that allows me to not have to do the camera stuff, do videos, the shooting ads, all that. And so that's, I have just a great team, customer service, someone running our ads, who does an amazing job. So, for me, it's like, okay, well, I'm young and I want to work hard. So, I'm going to start taking on more clients than if I have free time. And so what I work really fast, really quickly. I try to get, once everything is done that I need done with our fitness business, I'm like, okay, what's some client work we can do? And I'm usually reaching out to some past clients or getting referrals. And it really helps having a twin brother who knows how to write some good copy too.
nice. So I want to go back to 2020 was a huge year for you.
Mhm.
You said the offer side of your business went from 700K to 3.2 million. Yeah. So
Yep.
basically about 4.5x what you did in 2019. What would you say were kind of the big needle movers that gave you that big leap?
So definitely cold traffic. So we have an offer called Fit After 50, and the offer in 2019, I guess on average it was doing maybe 30 sales a day. In 2020, that bumped up to more so close to the 100 sales a day. Really give or take. I mean, some days was like, okay, Facebook slapped us and, now we're kind of like starting back over. So we definitely had those moments. We also started growing on different traffic channels. So it wasn't just Facebook, but it was Google, it was YouTube. We're seeing a lot of nice traction with YouTube. So it's at the, by the time the year was over, with 2020, it was doing about 150 sales a day between all those traffic channels. And a huge thing I will say that added seven figures to our revenue last year was supplements. So we had just added our test booster January of 2020, and just being inside Copy Accelerator, I was able to just write all this copy of different supplements we were coming out with and send it to you guys and see what you thought and be able to put those offers out. And those offers have done really well for us internally. And when I say it's done, seven figures, that's all only been internal traffic. It's not been affiliate promotions. It's not been Facebook ads with the supplements. So it has been a really great revenue source for the business, definitely.
So that's just for everybody listening to kind of clear that up. That's people, customers who are already on his list who have bought a course or have opted in some one way or another, and they're selling them supplements on the back end. And that's pretty much, I mean, not all profit, but it's a lot of profit compared to when you're driving cold traffic and buying all the media. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's interesting how that's really evolved because like when I got in the industry and started doing fitness info products back in 2008, 2009, nobody did supplements. Like everybody had
Mhm.
info products. I mean, people didn't even have upsells back then, which is just,
Yeah.
you could make an offer work back then on cold traffic with no upsells, which is just mind boggling. Um, but it's interesting though to see how it's changed now because when I talk to people now who want to go into health, I'm like, if you're not going to do supplements, don't go into health because you have to do supplements if you're going to make a successful health business because you just need the average order value to make it work.
Yeah.
Whether you're selling them on the front end, whether you're selling them as upsells, whether you're selling them on the back end to your list, whatever you're doing, you pretty much have to be in the supplement business nowadays to make it work. Otherwise, you're just leaving millions of dollars on the table.
Absolutely. And that's I was really surprised when we just looking at the numbers after, pulling the report for the year and seeing how much revenue the supplements added to the business. It really was shocking, to me in terms of wow, this is something that we've haven't done before, but in just 1 year, it is been a substantial part of the business. And so yeah, I totally agree. And I was actually speaking with a client, a copy client earlier, about her digital info product. And I brought up, well, I think a supplement would be a great, suit for this on the back end. And really, I do think it is a vital piece for people who do have a fitness business these days, because it does help you, yes, obviously you want to have an awesome product that you believe in. I'm not saying just put together something, chintzy and sell it for massive margins, just because you can. But what I'm saying is put together something great and feel great about what you're selling. And then, you have, you're confident when you're mailing it out to your email list. I mean, I don't feel bad at all promoting our supplements to our email list. I feel really great that they're going to see awesome results, and the testimonials have been great. So overall, from not just from the side of the business owner and looking at it, wow, this has been a great revenue stream. It's also helped accelerate the results of our customers who are going through our digital ebooks. And so that, I mean, it's been a win-win all around. So it's been great.
One thing I'll share that I learned this is probably back in 2010 or so when so I had a partner at the time and we were doing info products and he was very against supplements. He was very much of the just work out, eat right, you don't need supplements kind of mindset. And it was interesting. I got him to say okay to promoting a multivitamin. He's like, I'm okay with that. And so Pro Grade Nutrition was like one of the only kind of supplement companies at the time and we promoted ProGrade multivitamin. What was interesting is we got recurring revenue on not only that, but anything else that our customers bought.
Hmm.
And we got to see whatever they bought. And I remember looking at we were making like 5 to 10 grand a month. I remember looking at it at the end of the year and seeing all the supplements they bought. And I showed it to them and I said, they're buying all these supplements anyways. We might as well be fucking selling them.
Hmm.
I was like,
Yep.
it's really dumb for us to not be selling them because here's what they're buying. And I was like, show them the whole list of the protein powder and the test booster and the fat loss stuff. They're all buying. And I'm like, see how much, look how much money we're missing out on by not selling supplements. And that was kind of an eye opener to me to realize like, you could be against selling supplements, but your customers are going to be buying them anyways. So you might as well sell them yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, we were selling affiliate, doing the affiliate promotions with testosterone supplements, and yeah, I mean, there were lots of sales going into those guys for those, and I can imagine that they were using, they were getting repeat customers. So it was like, okay, well, if they're buying, if they're buying testosterone supplements from other guys, why can't we come out with, a better formula if, we feel that we can come out with one and see what happens, and so we're very glad that we added that element. It's definitely a big needle mover for the year, obviously. I mean, going from 700,000 the year prior, and just the supplements itself doing, doing seven figures. So, I mean, someone listening might just grab hold of that, implement that in their business, and they have a rocket year. I mean, it's definitely a good lever to pull if you're looking for something that you can add to your product suite that will really boost revenue for you.
Right. So one thing I'm curious of, so you had a really killer 2020, business is doing great. I always love asking people a kind of different version of this. What's something right now that, or in the past year that you've kind of struggled with in the business? Because I mean, everybody's got something. I mean, I got a whole laundry list of shit I struggle with. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is that I've learned, with having a son, is managing my time well. Because I was one of those guys who wanted to do everything, who didn't, necessarily trust people to do what needed to be done. And this year, let's just say our team has expanded a lot. And that's because I just looked at my time differently when I had a son. It was like, okay, well, I want to be done at this time of the day. I want to be able to go downstairs for lunch and, spend time with them. I'm not one of those early risers, so I like to get up at 7:30, 7:45, and he's just waking up, and see him for a little bit before just having my head in my computer and going to work. So a huge thing for me, it has been time management, and just finding what works for me. Sundays I try to take off completely, just have a day where I'm just not doing anything related to the business. Now, I am not perfect by any means in that regard, and let me tell you, I enjoy working. I enjoy what I do so much, where it's like, I know that kind of sounds cliche and whatever, but I really enjoy it, especially when it comes to my own, fitness, when our fitness business. It's like, I just really love what we do. So it's like, I want to work. And sometimes I have to actually slap my own wrist and just be like, look, just don't work, but that has been a challenge that I would say has been, I, I'd say there's been some victory there, compared to where I was, working 12 hours a day, every day of the week. That changed with the sun. And you know what? It made me more productive. Now I set my timer on my phone. Once that timer is set, it's like a trigger. It's like a work trigger. So, I'm not doing anything else but writing copy for a client if I'm in that, time, or I'm, dedicated to certain projects inside the fitness business. So that's been a huge one for me.
that's really powerful what you said, that kind of having something else that you want to be doing. One of the things
Mhm.
I've found with me is that if it's like, if I don't have anything to do and it's like, oh, I'm just gonna go watch The Office on Netflix, it's so
Yeah.
much easier to just stay on the computer and work for another hour or two. But if I just, even
Yeah.
if I just have like a couple friends over for dinner, or if I'm gonna go do something else, like, then I have a real plan that I'm not gonna kind of break.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you probably feel this way in a sense too, is sitting down and watching Netflix is boring for guys who want to build something. I mean, it's boring for guys who want to, build their business, or, they just want to get work done, and whether it's reach certain financial goals or whatever it is, there's this drawing in the back of their mind that's like, okay, go get something done and build. So for me, like, yeah, sitting on the couch and watching Netflix was always challenging, and just, it's like, I would rather have my laptop open and be productive. But what I've realized is that being productive, you know, if I am putting away my laptop to spend time with my wife while watching TV, that is being productive in a different way. That's being productive in our marriage. If I'm putting away my phone while I'm laying on the floor, while my son and I are playing with blocks, that is me being productive in just having building that relationship with my son. So it's you know, it's one of those things where you have to be intentional with what you want to do with your time, and there's nothing wrong with stepping away from the laptop, but it usually takes, like you said, that draw of something more important that we want to put our effort into.
I like the way you look at that with in terms of being productive with your relationship with your wife, productive with your son. I've kind of come to a similar conclusion. I guess I look at it a little differently in that I'm like, not every minute your life has to be productive. Is kind of the conclusion I've come to, which is a
Yeah.
big 180 from the way I used to look at it. Because it's like if I'm actually working from 8 a.m. till 6, like I don't have to be productive from 6 till 9 when I'm like getting ready for bed. Like I already did enough shit during the day. I don't. Not every waking minute of my day has to be productive.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's really too like it's one of those things that if you try to do that, you're gonna get burnout. It's just it's
Yeah.
gonna happen. It's inevitable. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Usually at that point.
Mhm.
Um,
Absolutely.
cool. Let's dive into one of the questions I love asking people is what's something that you know now that after doing this for however long you've been doing it, that you wish you would have known kind of when you were first starting, when you put out that first offer about the Spartan races and stuff. What do you know
Yeah.
now that would have helped you kind of tremendously back then?
Well, wow. A lot of it does come back to copywriting, but in this case, it comes back to the idea of coming out with or thinking on an idea for a product that has a really nice hook to it, something that's bigger than you know, with my obstacle course racing program. A huge mistake that I made, like I mentioned earlier, was creating something that included so much work after. You know, it's like, okay, now you have, so you buy the ebook and now they got to buy the running shoes, you know, they got to buy the ticket to go to, there's so many things that they're thinking in their mind, like, you know, okay, so if I buy this, that's almost like then I have to go buy all these other things, and they're just not committed. You know, they're not ready to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
and
also not
I
a big
started
market
noticing,
either.
no, no, it's a very so okay. So I niched down real good there, and let me tell you, that was also something that I learned. I'm really glad you brought that up because I niched down really hard there because I always thought like the guys who say the riches are in the niches and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm real niched down. Well, yeah, that didn't work out so well, right? So what I found when I released anabolic running, which was the offer that was right after that, I noticed that I started getting a lot of 40-plus-year-old men who were buying the program, and you know, rightfully so, because well, the whole painfully true story about anabolic running is what happened is when I was training for these Spartan races, I was running 12 miles, 8 miles a day. It killed my testosterone, man. I mean, and again, newlywed, if I have to keep bringing that up, newlywed guy, no testosterone, you can put the pieces together. Okay, so anyway, it was the anabolic running started as a true story about me trying to find a way to get better for my Spartan races and whatnot without having to go do these 12-mile runs, you know. And I dug into the research and found how this stuff, you know, these long distance endurance running really does kill your T levels. It hurts your lean muscle mass and all that stuff. And so anyway, I found a lot of guys over 40 were really connecting with my message because I would survey my customers and be like, oh, you know, I'd get a lot of great feedback, but I was like, wow, these guys are like not my age. At the time I was 26, no, 25, 25 or 24. And so it's like, you know, these guys are connecting with me because of the messaging, not necessarily because of my age, but because it's something they're similarly going through. Like, you know, they want to be in shape, but they're having all these issues with, you know, other things. So anyway, to your point, you want to find a niche. And let me tell you, the business we have now is all for men over 40. It's all of our products are marketed for men over 40, and which I actually personally love because I'm kind of an old soul. I'm not like one of the guys who's like into like, like creating a dating offer for young guys or a muscle building offer for young guys. That's like so they can get the looks from the cute girl at the checkout desk. Like that's not me. So I was almost grateful. It's like because I am kind of an old soul that I could connect with these guys. But to your point, don't go too narrow. You want to find, yes, you want to find a niche, but you want something that's still broad. So like men over 40 is, yes, it's niche down. It has a very specific language, but it still has a really broad appeal. Now you will see guys like who you had on, Jonathan, I believe, who had a guitar offer, very niche down. But he has miraculous somehow made that work, and I think it's amazing. But I would say that for the people who really are trying to come out with an offer and reach the masses and build a big list and serve a lot of people, find a niche, but don't go too narrow, like I did with the whole obstacle racing thing. That was a big mistake.
It's funny you mentioned that because I made the exact same mistake when I was in college. So I was not even big. I was a poker affiliate. This was kind of during the poker boom of the mid 2000s, and I went to Ohio State and I made a website called OhioStatePoker.com. It was like a forum, and we had games on there, and people would play and meet up and play. And then I was an affiliate for all the poker sites. I remember I was making like $1,000 a month from it at one point, and I was talking to one of my affiliate managers at one of the sites, and I was like asking him how I could increase that, how I could make more money. And he's just so bluntly, he's like, you have a website that's about poker at a college, and there's probably about 2,000 people there that are actually interested in that. And he's like, that's as big as your market's going to be. And I was just like, oh shit, I never even thought of that.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that
So,
the size of that market was not anywhere near big enough to hit my aspirations. But yeah, it's kind of similar story to yours. I mean, that is a real problem. It's a big problem with newer people. They'll either go way too broad, where it's just like, oh, I'm gonna do weight loss, and it's like, well, you're competing with the best marketers in the world if you're just doing general weight loss, and you better be able to write copy better than Brad Howard and Chris Haddad and Craig Clemens, which you ain't gonna be able to do. So they either do that or they do go super niche. I mean, I remember meeting some guy at a fitness conference once that did a workout program about how to work out on a trampoline and get in shape. And I'm like, the number of people who own a trampoline is like not that big, man.
and he's running into the same problem, obviously not just the niche issue, but then if I buy this thing, I have to buy a trampoline. It's like, so it's like one of those things where there shouldn't be something they have to buy after the product in their own mind. Yeah, we have upsells and stuff like that, but in the person who's reading the page and the potential buyer, we don't want them to have to think to themselves, okay, so after I buy this, then I have to buy this. This is why at-home workout programs, in my opinion, kick the butt out of going to the gym workout programs, because there's a lot of readers on the other side who, yes, want to build muscle, but they don't have a membership, or they, especially with the lockdowns, they would rather not go to a gym nowadays, or they just don't feel confident. They'd rather lift their dumbbells at home. So it's one of those things where it's like, man, anytime I've released a body weight offer or an at-home workout program, it's kicked the snot out of any go to the gym workout program.
Well, that market's just so much bigger too. The number of like this is like the people who get into like selling bodybuilding courses. It's like, that's a very passionate niche, but it's kind of a small niche. The guys interested in working out 5-6 days a week doing body part splits is nowhere near as big as the people who want to do P90X at home. Like you're absolutely right on with that. So I kind of want to look into where you're going from here. So you got your business is doing well, copywriting business is doing well. Where do you kind of see the next 6 to 12 months going for you with your business?
Well, man, I wish it was something really exciting. But and I'll say that in my world it's exciting, but to someone listening it might not be. Um, it's just continuing to double down on what we've been doing, which is focusing on ad creative, coming out with adding some product suites to our supplements and testing out some more supplements on cold traffic instead of just the digital ebook that we're using. So really for me, something that I've learned along the way is to stay hyper focused on what's working and where you're trying to go. It's easy for people to see what you and Stefan are doing, which is amazing. Or let's just your newsletter. It's easy for people to look at the Justin Goff marketing newsletter and people to be like, wow, I really want to start one of those, right? But if their goal is to build a multi-million-dollar company, then that would, you can't quite do both, really effectively. Now, the reason I can write copy for people and at the same time, have our fitness business is because I have a team now who really has opened up a lot of time for me to be able to help, other clients. But I will say that a lot of people, for anyone, who's watching this, what I would say is, hey, if you have something that's working, focus on that and really scale up your business. And that's going to provide more opportunities in the future, with your time and things along those lines. I mean, look at Stefan. He has many things going on, but that's because he has many teams. He's been able to scale offers and build teams. And so then he can, do something over here. And
even Stefan would say he knows he needs to scale down. He's like, I do too many things. And if I just focused on maybe selling RMBC really hard, I'd probably make 10 times the amount of money that I'm making right now.
I mean, exactly. And so what I would say, so in terms of where I'm looking to go the next 10 to 12 months, it's really just continue optimizing our video ads and writing new scripts and trying to hit some home runs there. Obviously testing different leads and things for our digital product that is running on Facebook, and then open up our supplement product suite a little bit more. And who knows, maybe we can hit a home run on one or two offers on, cold traffic with those. So that's really my focus for this year.
Nice. I have no doubt you're going to make that happen. So let's wrap up. I want to ask you one last question. So you've been a member of Copy Accelerator for a while now. Let's say somebody's watching this and they've heard about Copy Accelerator or the Light program and they were thinking of joining. What would you kind of tell them about your experience?
Well, I've been in the group now since it started. So I don't know if that's 2 or 3 years ago. But I signed up right away. I was on your newsletter. And I will say anyone who's watching this that's not on your newsletter, get on Justin's newsletter. I don't know if you put a link on, underneath in the show notes or whatever, but if you do that, whoever is watching, definitely hop in there, because that's kind of where it started for me, where I was learning from you and your daily newsletter. And I was like, okay, I want to drink from this guy's well more. Like, he's got a lot of wisdom, knowledge, he's doing a lot of great things and he's achieved a lot of things that I want to achieve as well. So, I want to work closely with them. So then when you started talking about the Copy Accelerator, I mean, I was all in. I actually, I think you were going to launch it. You guys were going to launch it. I think you pushed it back maybe 2 more months. And I was just like, okay, when is this thing opening up? I almost signed up with John Carlton, before, but I was like, I have a good feeling about this Copy Accelerator thing. So my experience has been really great in there, and it's been great with my growth, right? Because, over the past couple of years of being in there, I've obviously been at different stages in my business. And so, when I'm doing, when the business is doing $500,000 a year, that's a totally different set of problems than when you're, doing, $2 million a year. Different problems. But what's great is the diversity that is in that group allows you to be able to post stuff in there of what you're looking to solve or get help with. And you have guys from, if it's a $2 million a year business question, you got guys who are doing $10 million a year who are answering those questions. They've solved those problems. So it's really made it a quick way for me to kind of, put out some fires and do the right things that the business needed, and even prepare before certain issues came about. And obviously the ability to just send copy to you guys, like post it in the group and then have you guys get eyes on it, is truly amazing. And I actually don't think I'm ever going to leave the group, because I have this just, it's not necessarily, I don't know if confidence is the right word, but there's almost a security in that. Look, I don't know how well this copy is, but I can always, put it up for Justin and Stefan to look at it and give me feedback. If I didn't have that kind of to fall back on, there probably would have been a couple offers that I didn't launch just because I didn't think maybe they were good enough, or, maybe I'd work on a project with a client longer than I had to because the lead was actually good, but maybe I doubted myself more. But just getting your guys saying like, no, this looks good, and having that feedback allows me to finish some things faster. So overall, man, I mean, your mastermind has been just a blessing, such a blessing.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you saying that. Cool, man. So let's wrap up. Totally appreciate you coming on today and sharing your story. I think a lot of people, copywriters and offer owners, are going to get a lot out of this. If you are watching this and you're not on the Justin Goff email list, as Joe mentioned, you can go to justin123.com and opt in. The easiest URL ever to remember, justin123.com. And yeah, you can opt in there and apply to get on the email list. So Joe, thanks again for coming on, sharing your story. Appreciate you sharing everything. Appreciate you giving out a bunch of wisdom. I think a lot of people are going to be very happy that they listened to this.
Awesome. It was an honor to be on your show, Justin. So thank you so much. And I appreciate it, man, and all that you do. So thank you.
Awesome.